What you were saying about this kind of being from kind of local in-person tellings, I've told you that I'm kind of interested in this kind of thing. I know you recently went to like in-person kind of storytelling, right? And
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and it's interesting, by the way, you had said that one or both of those storytellers had gotten a Grimm's tale. So it's the Grimm's brothers interviewed people, got the living story from people, wrote it down. Someone a couple hundred years later or something, read it and reenacts it, bodily and kind of from their spirit, from not trying to get too woo or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's there's like a person.
Yeah, it's
There
alive.
was no
It's
telepathy
lusty.
involved. Sorry.
It's lusty. It's alive.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not just reading from a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm interested in that kind of thing. Just as a sidebar, interestingly, supposedly, so one of our viewers had mentioned that there was a version of a story. God, I'm blanking on it now. It'll come to me after the podcast is over. But uh, there was a Grimm's Brothers story that no, I think I'd done it with LL, and there was a Pushkin version that this viewer had seen, and I looked on the Wikipedia for it, and it said that there's a lot of evidence that Pushkin got that from oral storytellers who had gotten it at some point from the Grimm's version. So there had been the Grimm's written version that had somehow made its way closer to Russia and that had become an oral tale again, and that Pushkin then drew from and turned into a literary written tale. Which, if that account is true, it's interesting just to kind of see all that back and forth. But
That's fascinating. Wow.
yeah, but all that was an aside because I was kind of wanting to just kind of express the desire of myself and sort of want to know. I'm always trying to talk about this about you said how these Robin Hood tales had been plays in various localities, England, France, maybe other countries too, and later on written down in more, written down in different forms, like from Howard Pyle and by Howard Pyle and others. I wonder, I don't even know. I built it up so much now. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but but I'm just trying to kind of voice this desire. Like I don't know if you have anything more to say. I'm just kind of basically I'm hoping this kind of back and forth kind of happens again. We're talking on a recorded medium. We're not talking live. But yeah, what do you think? Or maybe and viewers could chime in too about what they think about the living story kind of being revived and being passed around and gaining gaining vigor and whatnot from people's tellings and everything, not having cannot only the authors,
Yeah,
the
I think
written.
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I think it's a fair question. I got a couple things to say. I'll say the sort of second thing first because it's shorter. But I just you were pointing out how, we're ours is a recorded medium, so it's kind of more akin to like a book or a play or something written down. But it's interesting because it's a recording of an actual conversation,
Yeah.
and we're not neither of us are reading the story verbatim. You did a very good job retelling it on using your own words. I read a few bits here and there, but like we're using it to kind of like we're bringing it to life between us, and that bringing it to life is being recorded, which, assuming humanity managed to keep digital material alive as long as it's kept written material, it's going to be very interesting to see what having a record of living conversations where they can see our faces, they can see all of my hand gestures that I like to make because I'm part Italian. I talk with my hands. Um, like all of that is recorded and captured for people to see. So it's kind of a different thing, and it touches on what we were
Yeah.
talking about last week about McLuhan and media, but I don't need to go
Yeah.
back into that. But I'm just sort of weaving that little thread in. So it's interesting. But the first point I want to make is you were referencing that storytelling evening I went to, not this Saturday, but the week ago. But it's a group called the School of Mythopoetics here in Portland. I don't know if they have a website. I would plug their website, you guys, if I knew how, but I don't know how. And I don't want to send people to anybody's personal sites because I don't know how that works either. So I'm just
Mm.
trying to be polite. But they did a really good evening. One of them, there was a guy told a Grimm's tale, and a woman told sort of a reconstructed Norse mythology, Norse myth.
Hmm.
And at the end of both of them, they did this really cool thing where they had everybody in the room, once you were done telling the story, everybody in the room would offer back some sort of reflection. Oh, this moment hit me in this way, and I liked this thing, or it reminded me of this in my life, and they described that as feeding the story. So, sort of like you call the story up to entertain you all through the medium of the storyteller, through the mouth of the storyteller, and the story comes and it does its thing, and in doing its thing, it gives out some kind of wisdom or some kind of lesson or some kind of
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
The story feeds you by the telling of itself.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you feed the story by giving some sort of a feedback. So yeah, if anybody's wants to jump in the comments and feed the story a little bit, I'm sure the story would like it.